Hey, Jim Malone here from njhypno.com, and this video may be of interest to you if you have been diagnosed with tinnitus or tinnitus and they checked you out and they figured out nothing's life-threatening, but they can't figure out what's going on with you, and they go, you got tinnitus, go home and learn to live with it. And as a result, you kind of went into a panic state over that. And a little background about why I'd be presenting on this. I've been a professional hypnotist since 1995. And when people hear that, they frequently think of like somebody you go to for quitting smoking, which is something I work with, or some of the common fears that many of us struggle with, whether it's flying, public speaking, and so on. However, there's also a branch of our profession that does what we call medical hypnotism. Now, that doesn't imply that we're doctors or diagnosing or prescribing for any conditions like that, but instead what it's about is that when people have life-changing illnesses, often there's a lot of stress and anxiety involved with that as you learn to cope. And also, you can't really make wild claims this way, but very often when a person gets their stress level down, it seems like the symptoms become a little more manageable, a little less intense. And years ago, I got into helping people with this particular challenge, and for a time, I facilitated support groups for the American Tinnitus Association here at the Jersey Shore, and in addition to working with clients one-to-one. And I frequently would ask folks about their story, about how this came to be, what do they think set it off, what exams did you have, and this one came up a lot. What kind of communication was there from that medical professional when you got this rather upsetting news? And I'd say 90% of the time, unfortunately, it was very poorly worded. And it's often something like, you got tinnitus, go home, learn to live with it, and the doc would walk out the door. And it's understandable panic would ensue. First of all, you weren't told how to live with it. And that raises questions. Is this going to be a lifelong ordeal? Am I going to get worse over time? And, very frightening. And what I'm going to share with you right now is a few tips or some areas you can look into that might help you with this. The first one is, as I mentioned, there's the American Tinnitus Association, and I'm not aware, but I don't think they're running live support groups anymore, but I think they do them online. But if you go to their website, even if you don't participate in a group, there's a lot of information there on different treatment options and coping mechanisms and the like. So that's really worth checking out. Also, if you're not sleeping, this one comes up a lot. You want to talk to your primary care doctor, and if he or she's willing to prescribe you something to help with your sleep, take advantage of that, because if you're not sleeping, your condition's going to deteriorate because we just have to sleep. It's just part of a healthy life. And the third option is somebody like myself to help you process through some of that panic that took place, because it's very normal if you're hearing these unwanted sounds and it begins to trigger all this other stuff attached to it, that I'm never going to get better, my life is ruined, and so on and so forth. That puts you into fight or flight, and guess what? That can make the symptoms worse. You either notice the tinnitus more, or maybe even the volume goes up. So in our hypnosis sessions, we do things like teaching you how to relax, how to process any upsetting memories that might be holding you back in your recovery, and giving you some tools that you can use in your everyday life. And I'm going to leave my contact info in the description down below. And if you'd like, there's no obligation, but you can reach out to me. We could set up a time to talk on the phone or a video call and see if hypnosis can help you start feeling a bit better with your situation. And I'll leave you with a parting thought. One of my favorite teachers always used to like to say, hope is realistic. So hang in there, and if I can be of service, please feel free to connect.